Fears in the reborn hobby. We all have them. What those fears are truly depends on you. W. Clement Stone said, "Thinking will not overcome the fear, but action will." Do the thing you fear to do and keep on doing it. That is the quickest and surest way ever yet discovered to conquer fear. Dale Clarence. Don't let the fear of what could happen make nothing happen. A word about fear from the life of Pi. It's life's only true opponent. Only fear can defeat life. It is clever, treacherous, adversary. How well I know. It has no decency, respects no law or convention, shows no mercy. It goes for your weakest spot, which it finds with unerring ease. It begins in your mind, always. One moment, you're feeling calm, self-possessed, happy. Then fear, disguised in the garb of mild-mannered doubt, slips into your mind like a spy. But don't fear. Don't fear, my darlings. Don't fear the fear. Embrace it. After all, our largest fear carries our greatest growth. Take that fear and write it out if you have to. Word for word. Write it boldly, and then read it back to yourself. Say it boldly. When you're done, rip that page of fears right out of your notepad. Fold it all up nice and tight. Hold those fears right over that light and watch the light engulf all the fears. The light will grow larger and larger and consume all the fears until they're nothing but heaps of ash. Today, we're going to talk about fears within the reborn hobby. Fears that I have and fears that I might have overcame. This is the October prompt for Delightful Dollies group. Fear in the doll hobby. Baby Skylar and I are going to talk about fears within a reborn hobby. Fears that you may still have and fears that you may have overcome, or that I personally have. If you would like to participate in this prompt, you are more than welcome to do so. This is a prompt from the Delightful Dollies International group. It is a small group right now, but we're hoping to grow. We're going to start having video prompts once a month. People who have YouTube videos can do a YouTube video, or you can do a video within the group if you choose to. And those who don't like to do videos within the group, they can even post a picture and a written response to their prompt. So if you would like to join this group, there will be a link below in the pinned comment And I will also include one in the description box because I know some of the screen readers for the visually impaired have problems accessing the description box. So that's why I'm going to put it in both places. That way you won't have to worry about it. So I'm going to put my glasses on because I actually wrote down little prompts for myself as I am speaking about my fears and what they are. And I thought it would be really appropriate to have some candlelight going on. But I don't know, it may just look not so great on screen, even though we are black and white. Um, let's talk about fears that I have. One of the biggest fears I have is that a natural occurrence of some sort will damage my collection. And I actually feel like it's a good idea if we have some sort of like homeowners insurance or renter's insurance on our collection because these babies are very costly. And if something happened to them, what would what would you do to try to replace them? So having them insured, I think would be a good way. But if anything were to happen, I mean, you could have um, your roof could leak because you had a really bad storm, a tornado could come along, any type of natural disaster that could somehow damage your collection is one fear that I have. Um, because even though you can replace the doll sculpt itself, like it'll be really hard to exactly replicate the doll. Like I know if something were to happen and I needed this baby replaced, this is a portrait baby of my son. So I have no doubt that Megan could use her awesome skills to make another Maddie, but it would be really hard to make him look exactly like this one. But I know that she could get really close. But yeah, it would be really hard to replicate. It's hard for an artist to replicate their own work twice. So much less like if some other artist were to attempt it. But another fear that I would say that I have within the reborn hobby is hurting another collector's feelings unknowingly. But I don't want it to be to the point to where I don't have my own opinion. I do want to freely have my opinions, but I do want to make it known that my opinion is my opinion and it in no way affects how I feel about the next person in their collection. Just like if I were to say, oh, well, I don't like I've said before, the Saskia is not for me. I don't like the arm placement and the hand placement. That doesn't mean if you have a Saskia that I think you shouldn't have it or whatever, or that I am not enjoying seeing your Saskia. Just that particular sculpt is not for me. I tried it. Um, so that's another one of my fears too, is to inadvertently hurt someone's feelings because I wouldn't want to get on anywhere and say anything mean or hurtful or nasty. That's just not me. But just by stating an opinion, I don't want to hurt someone's feelings or make them think that I think that it's less than because they have it. Um, Another fear that I have within a hobby is coming across braggy or showy. And I know that, I mean, we're all showing our collections on here. And to an extent, I guess someone who is not in the hobby would probably think we're all bragging. But we're just sharing in a fun way. But I wouldn't want to ever come across as someone who is bragging about what they have or boasting, or that I feel like that the baby that I have is better than the one you have, or the doll in general, because I collect all sorts of dolls. And that leads me to my next fear within the hobby. When you branch out and start collecting in a genre of dolls that you're not used to, um, there are lots of uh, rules that you may not know, you may not be aware of, And so, I fear that I'm going to leave something out or not learn everything I need to learn about those particular dolls. So, yeah, those are fears that I'm working on. I do a lot of research, especially when I go into a new genre. I feel like, as far as reborns go, I mean, I've been in the hobby since 2016. So I learn something new every day. Don't take it as I'm saying I know everything, but I think I know enough about the reborn hobby to not make those mistakes. Yeah, there's that. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I just want to make sure that if I cross over into different genres, which I have, that I join groups and stuff like that. That's helping me overcome my fears. A group that is dedicated to that genre of doll, so that I can learn everything that I can. Even though a group that covers a broad spectrum is great because that means you can share anything, I still want to make sure that I join a group that is particularly for that genre of doll. So now that we've talked about my fears, I want to talk about fears that I have overcome in the hobby. One of the main major fears, and this wasn't just in the hobby, but this hobby helped to bring me out of it, was driving to new places. I had major driving anxiety. And just the thought of having to go somewhere new that I didn't know, I would just be like, I can't do it. No, 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 I can't do it. And in my mind, it was my mind just playing tricks on me, saying, you can't do this, you're going to get lost. Um, it was just my mind playing tricks on me, but I believed it. I couldn't do it. That's what I told myself. I can't do this. And the very first meetup I went to out of state, bless my husband's heart, he drove me. He went with me. And some other husbands came too, and they went to the shooting range and had fun, while all of us ladies stayed back at the house and had our reborn baby shower. So, but after that, he encouraged me to drive more places just around here by myself. Because if it wasn't my normal route of where I went, I had a major fear of driving, just driving places I didn't know. And with the help of my husband and this hobby, meeting new people, I met Brittany from Brittany's Playroom and drove all the way to Clarksville to the mall. And that was the first trip that I took by myself. My husband was encouraging me, you can do it, you can do it. I know you can. You've got this, baby. You've got this. So as time went on, I was going more and more places. I went farther and farther. And then I was going to Alabama by myself. Now, sometimes I bring a friend, but there was a trip that I made all by myself, there and back. So, yeah, that is a fear that I have overcome, driving to new places because of this hobby. This hobby has done so much for me. Like, I just can't, it's not just about collecting the dolls. That's why I say it. This hobby is so much more than collecting the dolls. So much more. And so when I overcame that fear of driving, it wasn't too long after that, like maybe a year or so, my dad got really sick, and I had to make lots of trips to Memphis and places that I was not familiar with and I did not know. And because of that, because of this hobby, and because of the encouragement from my husband, I was able to do everything that needed to be done for my dad when he needed me the most, because he wasn't able to do all that driving. He just was too sick. I had to do it. And so it helped me in that way. So, and I could in turn help my dad. And another fear that I have had to overcome is finding a new artist. I don't know about y'all. I know some of y'all get babies from artists every which way, and you're not like, some people don't stick with the same artist. I like to find an artist that I know is legitimate and trustworthy, and I know how this person works and they know how I work. And I like that relationship, and I stick with that person. So there's been 3 times that I've had to find a new artist. So that is a fear that I have overcome simply by doing it, because the first lady that I got my very first real reborn doll from, I got one doll from her, loved her work, wanted a second doll, and she had decided she was going to stop reborning, and that was Jennifer Parker. And then I went to a couple of more artists, and then I ended up with Sandra Stanley. And then she said, after I'd gotten several vinyl babies from her, and then she said, oh, I'm just going to start doing silicone now. So she's still my artist. She's just my silicone artist. So then I had to be on the hunt once again for a new vinyl artist. And thankfully, I found Skylar's artist, Megan Johnson, because of my friend Jenny. She is so sweet. She is the one who recommended Doodlebug's Reborn Nursery to me. And so I have always been thankful to her for that. And I've actually thanked her like several times. Every time I get a new baby, it's like, thank you so much for recommending this artist to me, because, I had that fear once again. It was trying to creep right back up, and I had to squash it back down. So that's definitely a fear that I've overcome, because now that I know more people in the hobby, I can reach out and ask for references, and trust the people that I trust can tell me, hey, this artist is great. Like when Jeannie told me that Megan was great, I totally trusted her word, because she also had dolls from her. And Jenny had gotten a doll from Sandra, a silicone doll. So it was like, that's how we even met, was because she wanted to talk to me about silicone. So we started a relationship like that, which in turn, she was able to help me later on when I was needing another vinyl artist. So it all worked out really good. And so yeah, those are the fears that I have overcome in the hobby. I hope you have enjoyed watching this video, seeing baby Skylar. I hope the candlelight is not too much. Kind of adding to the effect, the spooky effect. It is October after all. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to join in on this prompt, feel free to do so. Just put it in your title, Delightful Dollies October Prompt, Fears in the Doll Hobby. So, yeah, and you can talk about fears that you've overcome and fears that you still have. That's it for now, y'all. I hope to see you in my next video. Thank you for being here. Bye.